Thursday, September 19th. Market analysis, Stan Ehrlich. Well, I definitely expected something different. I did not see this coming as far as new highs for the rally is concerned. Yesterday, we had some significant bearish engulfings and some ER sell signals, which produced a new short sale signals, which didn't happen. So we have a new high and a new high close likely today. Market's up 105 on the E-mini, which translates to about 10 plus a little on the S&P 500. And that is new high ground or close to it for NASDAQ and or that is the Dow, sorry, YM and the E-mini. It has to stay here and rally a little bit more for me to feel comfortable about expecting follow through bullish strength. I'm not sure how much we're going to find. Remember that we're very, very close to overbought. And in a few cases, we are overbought. So let's take a look at this situation. I believe it's a very delicate place we're at. Any kind of significant failure from here, closing very poorly, like 5 points higher, God forbid it would turn around and close lower on the day after being up 10, 11 points, but that's not impossible. It's very unlikely, but possible. And that would be a huge reversal, but it's not going to happen probably. Probably going to stay up here in general. We'll see how the close is, and I will come to some decent definitive conclusion tomorrow, Friday. I just can't say right here. It's just something that is very precarious. As far as the short-term chart is concerned with the E-mini, the 1 minute, we got up here an hour or two ago and we're just tested it again and pulling back down very slightly at the moment. Not a big deal. If we break below my little alarm line right here, I just put that in for today, then my eyebrows will start to raise up a little bit and something might be happening, but that remains to be seen. I thought it was on the way down to do that a little bit ago, and it didn't so far. Go to the spider. We have an overbought condition. First time in weeks. So I should be looking for sell signals, which I will be, definitely. But it is a new historical high ground. And that is after yesterday's attempt to do so, got there, couldn't hold it, ended up turning back down again significantly, and closed not strong enough, in my opinion. But there's all this strength follow through this morning. I mean, the trend is your friend. Go with the flow. Don't fight the market. You're never going to make the market do what you want it to do. You always have to move with it. So for the most part, what I'm seeing is bullish, but there are some bearish features to this strength. As usual, when you get real strong real fast, that could cause the overbought conditions, which are likely to produce some sort of a turn down. Okay, enough said about that. Really don't want to speak up too much here. Spider just attempting to, barely making new highs a few minutes ago, pulling back, nothing much. Very strong day in general, point blank. QQQ. Now, although we didn't break above and stay above the bear trend line yesterday, well, that certainly happened this morning. But we have a gap. There's a gap up. Now, is this an upside exhaustion gap? Well, today's high is right up against the same high that we had on August 22nd, which was a bearish engulfing at the time. Worked great. I'm really not expecting it to happen here. That would mean you'd have to go all the way down to 470 and a half or something from 485. Probably not going to happen to have a bearish engulfing. Besides, we're very close to overbought, but not quite overbought. Very, very close. So the combination of resistance, previous highs, extreme close to being overbought, and a gap below the market makes me very leery here. So I'm waiting for something. I'm going to have to go to the 1 minute chart. Nothing here that I can screaming bloody murder about except for the gap, and that's not going to turn into a bear move. It could contribute in some way, shape, or form, but all you have to do is go down, close the gap, and turn right back up again, which would be kind of normal for a bull trend. Next chart, NASDAQ, right up against previous high in the NASDAQ futures. Not quite there, but close. We were long from almost the low day on September 11th, 9/11, and we did get stopped out yesterday with a good trade. Very nice trade. But I wish we were still long. Now, if you were a little bit slower with your stop, meaning my kicker is my trailing stop, and a bigger kicker means you go a little slower, smaller one. It's kind of like a moving average, but it's not. I keep telling you that. It has everything to do with price movement and or an accelerant, which would be RSI. So we're out, and great trade. Not quite overbought yet. Notice I'm saying that, or we are overbought about most of these indexes, which implies we're close to a turn. Let's see what happens here. Next chart. NASDAQ, minor new high a few minutes ago, pulling back, no big deal. Really need to see some kind of weakness. Maybe if we dip below 19 and 964 and a quarter, that could start something on the downside, but ain't happening now. I don't see it coming right away, actually. Bearish engulfing ER's new sell signal on the YM yesterday. It didn't work. I think we had a day trade loss today on ER3, and we're also out of the ER3 overnight. And yesterday we may have, I don't have that showing, a small day trade profit, but very small, if it was, or a small loss on the ER1 scalp. Not good, but not disastrous. No major damage done. These reversals, I keep telling you, are oftentimes part of topping out processes and not necessarily the top like on that day right there and the exact high on that day right there and the exact high on that day right there. So this one wasn't one of those days right there, unfortunately. Okay, the 1 minute YM popped up. Here's our two ER3 day trade losses. Trading at the moment higher than where we were out of our shorts. And our fail-safe stop did the job. Our scalp stop came down quite a bit, not enough to lock in a profit, though. Never really had that much of a chance from here down to here. We could have, if you had created a smaller kicker, you would have sped up the movement of the trailing stop so that it would maybe have come down fast enough to lock in a profit. Not impossible by any means. It depends upon your style. Next. Russell, we got the bottom. We got out a couple of days ago because of a sharp rally, brought our stop up very quickly. And it too has had a new high for the move. But it is overbought yesterday and today and in a resistance area, as well as testing the same high price ranges that we have seen highs before, back starting on July 16th through basically August 1st, 2 weeks worth. There's a chance it could top out again here. Now, there's not a lot of correlation lately with the Russell to the other indexes. So is that going to cause them to turn around and come back down? Maybe. But this still is strong on the day, not above the previous highs, but pretty strong. So again, I'm waiting. I've been wrong here on the rally. I thought it was going to top out a little earlier than this or earlier than this, and it hasn't. So pull your horns back in a little bit and see what develops. Now, the Russell 1 minute, nothing new. Okay, bonds. Somewhere where I'm right. The bear trend line did stop the rally in an overbought condition 2 days ago, and I started squawking about it, starting to go down yesterday in particular, because of it making new lows for 6 days on a closing basis, new lows as well for several days, and today we're down quite a chunk. 34 ticks at the moment, looking pretty good on the downside. Now, my expectation here, and I'm not sure why the stock indexes are not paying attention to interest rates futures here, but they're not. They might tomorrow or later. Bonds, I'm expecting it to come down into this green circle, which is during October. And we're currently trading at a quote of about, well, 125 plus a tick. And I'm looking for at least a dip down to 20 and a half. So it's not that far away. And I have, 2 to 6 weeks. Anything at the beginning during October calendar month period would be great. 10-year notes, exactly the same thing. Plus, we got a sell signal on the high of the 10-year notes to the exact day so far. And boom, boom, good. ER1 overnight is still short. There's our green line we showed you yesterday. It's just getting bigger and more profitable. That's great. Next chart. And I am looking for that to go down into the green circle, just like bonds. During October, I might consider raising the top of the circle a little bit in the next couple of days, but it wouldn't be too much. Maybe up to close to 12, but not even that. Maybe 11 and 1120 something. But I got to take a closer look at that previous trading range and stuff. Yeah, maybe. I think that's pretty decent. Next chart. Crude. Oversold. Support. Did turn the market around. Sorry we didn't get a buy signal down here. New high since then. Been a week and a fraction. But now we're starting to toy with resistance levels, previous lows, trend lines that we're bumping against. But we're not overbought. We could turn around for the reasons I just mentioned, but it wouldn't be from an oscillator point of view. Mine, anyway. So I'm thinking it could probably pop up here a little bit more to hit this resistance line. And I'm not getting my cursor. Why am I not getting my cursor? That is not good. Local. Okay, good. Now that's what I wanted. So maybe 72.20-ish. That's not much higher. We're getting close to turning around, but there's more strength, I think. Natural gas. Didn't quite get to the resistance levels like last time, and it's turned down a little yesterday, and today, coming back up slightly. It might still get back up to that 2.48 resistance level and maybe even into it somewhat. We did get the bottom of the market on an ER buy signal, green smack dab on the bottom. We had 2 complementary buy signals shortly thereafter. And we did make the highest high for the move up only 2 days ago. I don't see anything terrible about this, except the dip has washed out a few stops and then come back to be higher on the day by 36 hundredths, thousandths, so hundreds. So I think it can go back up and make new highs. We're now getting a new high short term out of the heating oil, and it was oversold. That's pretty much all I can say. Unfortunately, no buy signals down here. Just the oversold condition has turned it back up again. It's going to go up to 2.2 and maybe even a squeak higher, but there's nothing particularly profound about what's happening. I don't see any major trend changes. It could easily turn around and make new lows also. Bear trend is pretty weak. We're looking at a sharp rally in gold. I'm not expecting this strength. I was thinking that we were going to see the market. Wait a minute. Let's go over here. Sorry about that. I wasn't expecting it to break the resistance levels, which it did. But yesterday we have a bearish engulfing, but it wasn't quite qualifying for an ER sell signal completely. And yes, it does. I am sorry. It's just the wick is body is so small. It's not very red. Let me expand this a little bit. And yes, we do have a new short sale trade, which we are still in. It's losing some equity, but we have our stops in place. I'm looking for this market to move down to the line at a very bare minimum, 25.61, rising slightly. But I think it's going to start chewing into this big trading range again. The trading range that we have had started back on April 12th, the middle of April. April, May, June, July, August, September. That's 5 months old. That's quite an old trading range, large time-wise. Look at what happened in silver yesterday, an outside down day, ER sell signal. Now, I don't like the fact that it's rallied up this much, and it did make a new high, therefore stopping us out of any lingering short positions, but we did get stopped out a lot quicker than that and actually made a tiny little profit here. Amazing. And that's because of the big break that happened during the day yesterday to create the bearish engulfing and a further decline of some significance earlier this morning. So there was plenty of opportunity for profit potential. It just depends upon how quick you want to move your stop. So this signal is not negated completely yet. Oh, yes, it is. I'm sorry. We did make a new high by just a few ticks here. Today's high is 31.625, and yesterday's high was 31,585. So that's a higher high, 625. So now what? Well, I'm going to wait a day or two. I didn't expect all the strength last week. The head and shoulder top formation had worked at least over halfway down. My buy signal at the bottom of the market, I didn't expect it to develop into some big a rally as it has. And this sell signal I thought was going to turn everything down, which it could be the part of a top, but let's see. Now, platinum did not have a sell signal yesterday, just overbought, and it's pulled back. But this is a bullish engulfing today, not a buy signal per se for ER signals. But I do like bullish engulfings, and they imply the market's going to work higher during the next short time frame, maybe just a few days, maybe a day or two, but higher. Let's see what happens. Gonna shut up at this point. Copper working just fine and outside, a double bottom formation with an ER buy signal almost on the first low, but the lowest low was on the second low, the ER buy signal to the low of the move, exactly, September 5. And we do have a new high for the rally today. That's great, but it's turning overbought in a resistance area, and I think it's about to top out. No sell signal yet. Let's watch carefully for a new short. That'll probably push it all the way down to 40, 4.0. And that would make for possible triple bottoms, which are so rare that it's not likely. As a result, probably lower levels after that. Next, soybeans. Sideways, coming up a little bit. Got a buy signal near the lows and a sell signal that still doesn't want to drop down very much. I'm going to have to beg off on soybeans also for the moment, but I am not bullish intermediate to long term. And short term, I'm very skeptical about any rallies. I just want this to make a low lower than 995.5 ASAP. And then I'll feel a lot better about my sell signal, which so far is just doing negligible. Next, oil, bean oil, coming up a bit. Last buy signal worked just fine, but it got overbought at resistance, turned down. There's no new low for the trend here. And now we're seeing a couple of days with the strength. You know, this is how markets start to develop some significant bottom formations, but it's too early in the stage for me to say that that's really happening here. It's kind of in the no man's land at the moment. So also I'm going to beg off on soybean oil, meal. You know, there's some commentary that I don't feel comfortable with. So I'm going to also turn a little bit neutral here in soybean meal for the moment. Okay, what about corn and wheat? Corn, minor new lows, 4 days. Resistance stopped the rally. Fine. Long-term bear trend seems to still be intact. So I have to expect a test of the lows and maybe probably likely new lows. Wheat did get overbought on the rally, is making minor new lows for several days now, a little over a week. Would like to see it get below 559 on a closing basis in particular, and then I'll expect the lows with a bullish engulfing ER buy signal smack dab on the bottom of the market. That's going to get challenged, I think, and then make new lows. So that buy signal and a complementary one a few days later, that worked out okay. It just wasn't a whopper. That sell signal was a whopper. That buy signal was okay. It was just slow moving. This sell signal was not, that was just a small loss because it was at the wrong place, unfortunately. But hey, we always have a stop in. We always protect ourselves. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Next, cattle. Resistance, almost overbought. I think it just barely missed it. What's the high here? 74.92. Wow. That is super close to 75 or higher. So almost overbought in resistance. I think it's about to turn back down, but maybe a little more strength. Miss Piggy, a little more rally, not overbought. Probably could come up a little bit more, test these previous highs. And we're back to the E-mini. Gosh, there's no sign here, as far as I can tell, that this thing is starting to move back down again to any significant significance at all. 1 minute NASDAQ futures, no, haven't got anything. And the 1 minute Dow. You guys have a great day and profitable trading to you.